It was a stormy evening when Elena, a quiet 16-year-old student, stayed late at St. Agatha's school to finish her art project. Elena was a girl who turned out to be a stranger in her own home. Her parents got divorced, which made her nightmares every day turn to reality. That day, the school was empty, the classrooms locked, the halls silent except for the occasional groan of old pipes. As thunder rattled the windows, the power went out, plunging the building into darkness. Elena grabbed her bag and hurried toward the front doors, but when she reached them, she found heavy chains wrapped tightly around the handles. No matter how hard she pulled, the doors would not move. At first, she thought it was just the storm. But then she heard it, slow, deliberate footsteps echoing down the hallway behind her. She turned, shining her phone's flashlight into the shadows, but no one was there. Her heart pounded as she backed away, the beam of light trembling in her hands. Then the whisper came, faint but sharp, brushing her ear like a breath. "You shouldn't be here." Elena gasped and spun around, but the corridor was empty. Yet the silence didn't last. From behind the locked classroom doors came a steady scratching sound, like fingernails dragging across wood. Lightning flashed through the windows, and in that instant, she saw words smeared across the walls in dripping black ink that hadn't been there before. "Stay with us." She ran, her footsteps echoing through the empty halls, until she stumbled into the library. The heavy doors slammed shut on their own, trapping her inside. Books fell from the shelves with a crash, pages fluttering open as if an unseen hand was searching for something. One book slid across the floor to her feet. She picked it up with trembling hands and opened it. The pages were filled with strange symbols, names of students written in ink that had faded with age. And at the very bottom, a single line scrawled in red, "One must remain to feed the rest." A cold wind swept through the library, though the windows were sealed. Elena's breath fogged in the air as laughter echoed from between the shelves, the high-pitched giggling of children long dead. Pale faces darted in and out of the shadows, watching her with hollow eyes. Her hands shook as she backed away, whispering to herself, "This isn't real. This can't be real." But it was real. She bolted into the hallway again, desperately searching for another way out. Every door was locked, every window sealed. The staircases twisted impossibly, leading her back to the same corridor over and over again. It was as if the school itself was alive, reshaping its halls to keep her trapped. In one classroom she passed, the desks began to scrape across the floor, arranging themselves into neat rows. The blackboard lit up with ghostly chalk, writing on its own, "Sit down, class is in session." Elena froze in horror as dozens of shadowy figures appeared at the desks. Children in tattered uniforms, their mouths wide open, but no sound came out. At the back of the room, a tall figure stood watching her. His body was thin, his coat long and black, his face pale, with two hollow sockets where eyes should have been. Every step he took shook the floor. His voice was deep and hollow, rattling through her bones. "Every student belongs here forever." Elena stumbled back and fled again, finally forcing her way into the basement. She thought she'd be safe there, but instead she found something far worse. Behind a crumbling wall was a hidden chamber filled with hundreds of old student records stacked in boxes, each stamped with a red mark that read, "Deceased." Some files were over 100 years old, but all of them belonged to children who had once studied at St. Agatha's. She picked up the most recent one. The date was blank, the photo slot was empty. but her own name had already been written in: Elena Morales. Tears welled in her eyes. She dropped the folder and ran, but the building shook violently as the old bell above the school tower began to ring on its own. The sound was deafening, echoing through every hall. The walls split open, and pale hands reached out, seizing her wrists and ankles. She screamed and fought, clawing at the floor, but more hands wrapped around her waist, her neck, pulling her down into the darkness. Her last glimpse was her own reflection in a broken window, her skin drained of color, her eyes hollow, her mouth twisted into a silent scream, already becoming one of them. Then she was gone. The next morning, the janitor arrived and unlocked the building. Everything looked normal. Elena's backpack still lay in the hallway where she had dropped it, but there was no trace of her. Later, in the principal's office, the register lay open on the desk. In fresh, crimson writing, a new name had appeared on the page: Elena Morales, present forever. And some nights, if you walk by St. Agatha's School after dark, you can hear her voice mingling with the whispers of all the other students who never left, trapped for eternity inside a school that will never let them go.
Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more stories.